I really don't want to be that guy, but I have to be that guy because we're, exactly like you said, we're all politicians here, we all know how to speak Indian, but it's not about putting the nice words together. For example, for Yoko, the Tallinn-Helsinki tunnel is potentially a great project. We as Greens have been talking about that as well, but that is not an issue for the local elections. It's not. If this is an issue for local elections, then also I can say that Estonian Greens are going to legalize weed in Tallinn.
Why not? Go for it.
Secondly, just a quick comment on Abdul, to go to voting is exactly, it's very, very important, but the most important thing is that you will make a rational decision. So for all of you who haven't voted, please do check our party programs, again in English, and see which one speaks to you the most. Now, for Urmas, he pointed out about the corruption. The candidate of ERL for the mayor used to be the director of Kapo, which is basically the FBI. His job was to get rid of corruption. Corruption is still there. As for Kadri, who said that the future is red and green, 50% I agree with you, but the future is only green, because Social Democrats are the party whose view on human rights is beautiful. We totally agree on that. However, the politics of the 21st century is not going to the left, it's not going to the right, it has to go forward, and this is what Greens is about. Future, we want Tallinn to be basically the Silicon Valley of Europe. That's the entire point. Our society currently is debating about medieval things such as LGBT rights. I mean, it's embarrassing. Whereas we should really, really be focusing about things, like I said, basic income, but we also have to bring international think tanks here, bring conferences here about topics such as transhumanism, CRISPR-Cas technologies, all of these things that are going to affect our lives in the next decade or 2 decades.
Good idea. The same. Some of the ideas you'll see are cross-party. I mean, the first thing Kaspar mentioned was bicycle lanes. And I'm like, damn, that's my idea. I'm so keen on that, right?
No, but that's not the point. It's about doing the bicycle lanes. It's not about Green Party or Centre Party.
That's also the question.
Guys, this is fun. Okay. I mean, once again, my question to Mr. Reinsalu is, your mayor candidate was the director of Kapo. It was his job to get rid of corruption in Tallinn. He clearly couldn't do it. What makes you think that your candidate is going to get rid of corruption now? And secondly, in terms of how to fight for the corruption. Like I said, Tallinn has to be in cloud. It has to be simple, the budget has to be there, all the decisions have to be a few clicks away. So each resident at any given time can access this information, see where every single cent is being spent, etc. This is the e-Tallinn. This is what Estonia is about. We have to implement these possibilities.
Greens are also against rail boarding.
Of course, Greens are future-looking, not looking for transport solutions. I'm against Rail Baltic, exactly, because this is a 20th century project. We're talking about the project that is going to be completed in 2027, where the trains are going at 160 kilometers per hour. We have a functioning railroad already. Fix this, you're going to save a lot of money, you can still go to Europe. There is not a single argument for Rail Baltic. Guys, really, there's none. And can I just come to the Helsinki question?
Tunnel won't happen without Rail Baltic.
Absolutely, I agree on this, yes.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get back to the...
And I just wanted to say...
And the international talent won't come here when you have racists all over the place.
Let Kaspar...
Yeah, I just want to tell you one thing. Look, all our politicians here, look at me. Do I look like a politician? I have absolutely no interest of being a typical politician.
Definitely.
And that's what I'm going to say. I think the city run by Centre Party is pretty horrible. But EKRE is a catastrophe. So Green Party will never make a coalition with EKRE.
Well,
there's not a lot of chance that you're going to get a massive result on these elections. So are you considering already some post-election scenarios where some of the measures that you want to push through, how do you plan to push them through while either being in opposition or considering some coalition with some of the other parties?
Well, firstly, unfortunately, I don't want to, but unfortunately I have to agree with you. that our support, unfortunately, is not that big at the moment. This comes down to many factors. Estonian Green Party was a big mess in 2011. People still remember it. Unlike all the other parties in here, apart from Lance, they all have state funding, so they're running their campaigns for hundreds of thousands of euros, whereas our budget is zero. But in here, I would also like to tell you, check the Estonian Greens Facebook page, because what we're making music videos, we're making different videos, we're making completely different program. Now, when it comes to either getting elected or not, and we're going to be in the opposition, I mean, we still have our values. Our aim in the end, and it shouldn't be a politician's aim, isn't to get on power necessarily. It's about the fact that really the right things are being done. Obviously, my colleagues in here, I mean, they are not talking about the things, all of the things that are important for the Green Party, like I pointed out, the basic income pilot, etc. But I'm really, really happy to see that all of us are, to a certain extent, with a green mindset. So our job in there would be, if we would be in the opposition, would be to remind them what their promises were, what they were talking about before, and that the really green things, what we've talked about, the renewable energy, the bicycle paths, etc., will really be done.
What are your realistic expectations for these elections?
For these elections, 5%. For 2019 parliament elections, 30%.
Wow, okay. Income.
Basic income, guys.
How do you make it
It's the future. It's not because I'm sitting here, I'm telling it's the future. If you listen to Elon Musk, you listen to Bill Gates, you listen to Mark Zuckerberg,
they all have a lot of money.
It's not about the money, it's about the automatization how do the things are going to work.
How do you finance it?
Basic income is the pilot program is going to involve 1,000 people. The budget for that is 4.8 million euros per year. 4.8 million euros per year as an investment to something crucially important for the future. It's less than 0.6% of the city budget. To say that we can't find money for that,
more than the
and
whole
to say that we can
Tallinn
find
budget.
money for building crazy roads.
As much money.
I'm also talking about the Tallinn in the cloud, which is going to reduce the costs of bureaucracy, etc. And once again, guys, really, in less than 10 years, the majority of Estonian political parties are going to be talking about basic income. The rest of the world is already saying the only reason why they're not speaking about it is because they're scared, because it's a new idea.
I want to ask, if you're giving it to the chosen 1,000, it might give us some ideas, but how will it benefit the rest of the
It's a pilot program.
400?
It's a pilot. That's the entire point. It's a pilot program. Why Finland is doing it, why Netherlands is doing it at the moment.
And
that's the entire point.
You heard it here first.
It
In
will
10
be
years,
It's a pilot program for the
Green
Green
Party,
Center
basic
in
income,
the
remember that.
parliament.
Circus is Tallinn TV
let's-
and bread
Well,
is
I
not
mean,
income.
yeah,
But now it's working perfectly. Our social welfare is working perfectly. We have 90,000 people without healthcare, etc. It's fantastic. It's going really, really well.
Kaspar?
For once, I have to agree with Urmas that you do have to use your brain. And look, guys, I'm not a Superman. I don't know all the answers. It's my first ever debate. But we do have a lot of very intelligent people in the Green Party. There are people who are doing this for their passion, for free, because we don't have any funding, we don't have any money, we don't have any salaried workers. So once again, what I'm telling you is, please, the ones who haven't voted yet, please go and check not only our platform, but everybody's platform. And what I'm trying to say here is the Green Party is the party that wants to use the possibilities that the 21st century has to offer. We do have different ideas. For some, they might be radical, but they only sound radical at the moment. And in a few years' time, I'm sure that none of you is going to find it radical. Plus, with the Green Party, obviously, you're going to get the green ideology. And this is what we're all been talking about here as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.